It's yellow. It's powerful. It's fast. And it's got a big ass just like mine. Porsche 911 Turbo S. So grab your ass and let's go. When I first sat behind the wheel of this Porsche 911 992 Turbo S and pressed the gas pedal, my face stretched into a smile, and the only word I could squeeze out was bitch. I swear to God I have never felt anything like this before in my life. No other car ever surprised my body the way this Porsche managed to, so enough talking. Right now I want to show you how this car does the launches. What a crazy bitch. It's fucking amazing. This bitch makes an egg pack appear on my stomach. Though when I release the gas pedal, everything gets back to normal. Shit, I wanna do it again. I've been doing it all the night long. I didn't sleep at all, but I want to go on and on. Holy motherfucker! Yesterday I was screaming in this car. I was fucking screaming like never before because the things this bitch can do is unspeakably incredible. Once I saw a video about a pit bull biting a man, and I thought to myself, what can you possibly do to make it open its jaws? And the first thing that came to my mind was to grab its fucking tail, lift it up like this, and stuck this finger as hard as you can right up its ass. I'm sure that it will open its mouth. I've never had a finger in my ass, but when I press the gas pedal, my mouth is wide open. I'm sure that the level of astonishment that people would feel at that moment could be similar to what I feel now, because I get surprised every fucking time I do this, like what the fuck is going on? First thing I noticed here when I got into this car was a speedometer. It says 350 kilometers per hour. It's about 217 miles per hour. Jesus Christ, who the hell came up with this idea? This car costs about $233,000, but according to the level of excitement this car gave me for only 2 out of 10 days of testing, I can tell you guys that this car has the right to cost $325,000. While the goddamn Lamborghini Urus, consider it, may cost $325,000, and this is one of the reasons why I'm hating it, because it's too much for it. This Porsche has every right to cost this much, but it costs only $233,000. Wait. Now! Come on! Come on! Nearly missed it. And the most interesting thing is that if this car was a Mercedes or a BMW, it would already be dead from the amount of launches I made for the last 24 hours. That's definitely could be a record for one night. I feel somewhere in my consciousness there is a red line at 2.7 seconds to 60, and every car that is faster than that gives me different emotions. And this car crosses that line because these guys from Porsche are simply adorable, and that's what I love them for. Officially they say it accelerates to 60 in 2.7 seconds, but in fact it makes it in 2.5 seconds with launch. Can you believe it? 2.5 to 60. It just seems to me that after 100 miles per hour it slightly starts to lose some of its power. But the way it accelerates to 100 makes this spacecraft simply undescribable, and I'm just speechless. An incredible car. The sound is one of the most important elements. You know, my X5 always shoots flames and explodes quite loud, and everyone likes when his sports car sounds unique and when it sounds loud, and most of exotic cars really has its own unique sound. This car also has it. But it doesn't make me feel excited. The only thing that excites me is the math and the numbers this car can provide. I can say that this car sounds like a winner. Yes, I'm more than sure that the engineers tried to make this car sound somehow unique. But if we take, for example, an M5 A60, this car sounds phenomenal, it sounds expensive, and it really sounds like a racing car. And this car doesn't give that feeling because the engine doesn't reach such a rotation speed that an M5 E60 did. We used to chip it and make up to 8600 RPM. And here the red line is at 7000, so it's obvious that it can't have such a sound. Okay, let us compare this car to its straight competitors. For example, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. That was the car I liked really a lot, and if we take this Porsche as the equivalent of handling, I can say that the Lamborghini Huracan Performante steers just a little bit sharper than this 911. But if you reduce the sharpness by maybe 20 or even 15%, the result you get will be this car. This car is more soft and it fits better for city driving. And I like this much more because I think that the Performante handles the same sharp as some GT3, which fits more for track driving. And this 911 is a city version. The boarding here is very comfortable, same as this door. It's very easy to get into this car. There's no wide door sill, so you don't have to put your leg over your ear to be able to squeeze your ass into the seat and feel yourself inside. You have to understand that everything you see here is the result of a 30 years development of one and the same automobile. Every stitch, every bolt, every plastic part is brimming with quality and decades of experience. This steering wheel is perfectly comfortable and informative. The multimedia system shows all the necessary information right on the dashboard, but that's not all. There you can find also the night vision camera and even the navigation. Some people hated this shifter and this transmission, but in fact this is a very convenient thing when you don't only look at it but really use it in practice. This shifter is extremely informative and very comfortable. These simple buttons that switch the suspension modes and its stiffness, turn on the ESP and add some extra bass for your exhaust system, they look very nice and they sit on the right places, and I like that. I'm simply in love with this interior and I experience a great pleasure just sitting inside of this car. But there's one small thing. This is the only little thing I don't like, and I really think that the guys from Porsche made a huge mistake. I simply don't understand why this car doesn't have a windshield HUD. You guys know how to do it, you have everything for it, you have all the VEC technologies, so can anyone tell me why the hell there's no windshield HUD? Just why? This car can run up to 217 miles per hour, so how do you think, do I have the right to see my speedometer driving on such speeds? Putting my eyes away from the road and looking at the dashboard is simply dangerous. Suddenly I remembered of people who overpay for BMW M8. just because of its appearance, cause here we have an interesting situation. On one hand, you have a 911 992 Turbo S for $230,000, and it looks like a beautiful girl with such a sexy ass that everyone turned their heads. But when you see her face and understand that it attracts you even more, you simply cannot believe that such chicks really exist. Cause this chick turns to be a 28 years old fit girl with a perfect body. But on the other hand, she has an 18 years old sister, which is a Porsche 718, and this baby is much cheaper and with less requests than the first one. I think that this Cayman is Porsche's biggest mistake, and because of all these beggars who don't have enough money for 911. This particular car and its appearance loses all of its importance. Most of the people doesn't see the difference. They just say Cayman that costs 65,000 bucks and think, wow, that's a Porsche, and have no idea that that car is a piece of crap. I'm addressing to girls right now. This is only for you, so girls, please, when you see this car, mind. The guy is poor, he has no money. If he drives a Cayman or a Cayman S, f that sucker. But if you see a Porsche and it says that it's a 911 Turbo, that's okay. Turbo S, excellent. I think that these cars should be forbidden and Porsche have to make something else. I don't know, bicycle for kids, just f off 911 and leave it alone. Just let their owners feel they drive exotic cars. A dangerous event happened to me last night, and it could have turned all my life upside down. At the speed of 180 miles per hour, I suddenly lost control of this car. For a couple of seconds, I managed to hold the car and keep it on the road, but that was a red flag. The second one, the first one I got when I was driving a Performante. God damn it, Jesus! Did you see it? Yeah. This car has a very stiff sport suspension, and it jumps at any roughness like a rubber ball, and it bounces and rocks from side to side. And I think that in this case, and in case with that Performante, this is the fault of the car. It's the question of its capabilities and the way it was constructed. This is the way it was made, and you simply cannot do anything about it. So why is it happening? The thing is that this suspension seemed to have some kind of a red line, and once you step over it, I mean, if you press it a little bit more than it was supposed to, it shoots out like a squeezed spring. It just starts to play basketball with you, and in case of some extreme situation or simply any roughness, it can just fucking leap you away from the road. This is why I love X5Ms, and this is why I love M5s. These cars keep the road, no matter the roughness. The suspension works perfectly, and here if you meet some bump, the car rocks and bounces from side to side, and when it happens at the speed of 170 miles per hour and you begin to brake, it starts to go sideways. And this car is short, and the engine is in the back, and it's heavy, so you simply wrap the traffic lights post, and there are lots of such crashes. So this car is very fast and very deft. This car is very small and it can fit any gap on the road. But unfortunately, being that jumpy, I mean, this bouncing ability simply kills all the joy from driving it, and it tells me that this car intends to kill you every single day. It's very sad to say, but I don't think I would buy one of these for myself, though it's a wonderful car and it's almost perfect. But it's not good for Russian roads. I mean, Russian roads are not good enough for such a car. Even if you have enough money for it, it becomes simply useless. Though M5 F90 is able to run here at any speed, and it has quite good drag racing results, and it will lose a little bit to cars that accelerate to 60 for 2.7 seconds, but come on, that's an M5 and it has 4 seats. The amount of launches here are simply unlimited. And all of them are stable every single time. There's no even a hint for some wrong sound or some wrong reaction or some slippage, neither in the transmission nor in the engine. Simply nothing, and never and nowhere. This car sounds as healthy as possible. It sounds like nothing can possibly break or go wrong. This car never talks to you, it just silently looks into your eyes and whispers "Floret." So check this out, this is how the launch here looks like. First you lean forward, then you grab the wheel, release the brakes and get going. $140, $155. Did you see it lost the grip? It started to slide. Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. And that is the danger I was trying to tell about. It's not only jumpy when you accelerate, it's skiddy when you try to brake. You have to catch it all the time. Buying such a car and use only 70% of its potential is not my style. I always use all the 100% of all potential of any car I drive, because otherwise what's the point? That's why I will never buy this car, simply because this car will kill me if I ever use all the 100% of its potential. One day I will definitely lose the grip and I won't be able to catch it. And it's just because of its stiff suspension. It simply cannot deal with these roads and these pits and bumps, and this is the car for perfect roads, and unfortunately there's nothing I can change about it, because I live in Moscow and drive mostly in Russia. I cannot name you the exact place, but there's one road where we test cars. And this road has the best and the smoothest part of asphalt in Russia, so let's try to check the maximum speed. So the suspension goes back to normal. Spark plus. Let's go. No questions till 125 miles per hour. The acceleration, the handling and the suspension, everything is perfect. But here comes the turn and I already start to feel unconfident in some way. And that's it, I'm scared to accelerate. This part of the road is not smooth, and the car jumps and bounces, and it can be thrown away from the road in a blink of an eye. It's very light, and no matter the downforce, it can easily leap out from the road. $190, $200. So when the road is perfectly smooth, it can run at 200 miles per hour, but it can do 205. No matter my driving beam, the fucking lad Largus doesn't give a shit. He feels comfortable in the left line. Fuck me on this Porsche. Fuck the smoothest road. Fuck everyone else who's driving faster. This douchebag is driving a lad Largus here. The fuel consumption is very high. It's simply crazy how fast it is fuel. Just for you to know, guys, we drove like 15 miles away from Moscow, and it already had half a tank at the speed above 185 miles per hour. This car provides you the feeling of death and extreme fear. And here this feeling is much stronger than in other fast cars. Even now at the speed of about 70 miles per hour, I'm driving in the right line and the car is bouncing all the time. Well, I still don't understand how can I possibly use this car, but I can definitely tell you one thing. This car is invincible in acceleration from 0 to 60. In some traffic racing, with a good driver inside, and this car can be absolutely safe right until 100 or 125 miles per hour. On such speeds, this car becomes an absolute winner within the city, but if you drive any faster, it becomes terrifying even for me. And now we're going to visit one very distinguished man. His name is Oleg Askarovich Kisselmann. He is a Russian racer and a champion of Russia in touring races. Also, he won lots of European races and took part in many different championships. So, what's the point of race driving? And it's not only about Porsche. When you drive any sport car, you have to accomplish the whole lap as fast as possible, and it's different from speeding on a single straight and finishing into the fence wall. So first we have to learn how to brake the right way before it turns, how to make the car snuggle to the ground and get maximum grip, and then gently let the brakes out and the same gently turn the wheel, direct your car and make an intense acceleration. Come here, take a look. How hard this girl brakes, turns the car, and how fast she accelerates. This is the main thing in race driving. But that is not what I'm interested in. I want to know why this car is so hard to control after 155 miles per hour even on a straight. You said that it may rock because of the tracks on the asphalt and different width of front and rear wheels. Okay, BMW has the same different wheels, but none of that ever happens. It goes straight all the way like a train. All the Access and Mercedeses, despite having different wheels, they feel confident on the straight. But this car doesn't. We just ran it on a straight at 135 miles per hour and it felt like it sails from side to side, and when it meets some roughness at the speed of… You simply don't drive sports cars that often, but I can assure you that every sport car that was made both for city and for track acts like this. Yes, that's right, it simply jumps on any roughness. Okay, just listen to me, dude. People who buy such cars, they love and enjoy this feature because this is what makes this car feel alive. My engineering experience tells me that any stiff sport car, and it's not about disadvantages or about Porsche only, any stiff sport car will act the same. So if such a car gets to some tracks on the road at the speed of 150 miles per hour or faster, without a doubt it will be bouncing. But the owners like to say that the car feels alive. Okay, so if you drive such cars really often, you simply know how to make these small corrections with some accurate steering. I know that. Well, for example, when you drive some car like, I don't know, let's say, a G-Wagon or a Porsche Cayenne on 22-inch wheels. Yes, the movements you make are not that gentle, cause it feels different. When you get into some tracks, sooner or later you start to feel it through your steering wheel, and as soon as you got this information, you react rapidly and you change the traction, but you have this time to think that you have to correct it maybe on 5 degrees. But when you drive a sport car, you have to do the small 1 or 2 degrees corrections all the time. Okay, let me take you for a ride and then we change. First you drive and I watch. Let's go. Let's get into this turn. Get on this curb and hit the brakes. That's it. The ass swims. Well, I enjoy this thing. And I don't. That's because you drive at 80 miles per hour and I drive at 180. See what I mean? That is the difference. I understand, but we're talking about different things now. Well, yes. When we race on track, okay, I see your point, but the way it behaves on these curbs helps me to explain how it feels on the road. Excellent. Well, this car is ready to perform in D1. Yes, only if you don't go faster than 150. You are a maniac. Yes, I know that. It accelerates perfectly and steers like a god of cars on perfect asphalt. I agree, but when you start to… Okay, let's make the suspension less stiff. Okay, switch it to the sport mode and try to… Let's do that. Simulate a kind of a fast city driving. Excellent. Absolutely any sport car wearing a low-profile tires will behave the same or even worse. But the S's and other cars don't try to overrun their faces, and this one does. I don't feel that. I control everything. Okay, let me show you. Start to brake from here. Did you see that? Its S tries to go in front almost immediately. As soon as I hit the brakes, it tries to overrun. Well, that's obvious. With such an intense and extreme braking, all the weight of the car goes to the front axle and the rear axle. It loses the weight, it loses the tense and loses the strain, and this is what people use to make the car go sideways and actually to drift. Okay, that's good. All these things you are telling me, I understand that. I feel the difference between our driving levels. Well, actually, I have to admit that you were pretty good and you know how to deal with powerful cars and you know how to drive. So, You simply need to practice a few elements and it will be perfect. But we are talking about this particular car, and the main issue is that I drive on very high speeds. I know that it's too fast to drive in the city or elsewhere, and the only thing I want to know is how to make this ass stay behind and how to don't release the gas pedal. I mean it, just keep your foot on the pedal, even in the city. Unlike the BMWs, this car does, the opposite thing. When you drive your BMWs in your race, tries to go in front of your face, as you have said before, you just release the gas and it gets back to its course, but this car will turn around. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to figure out with this test. But mind that we're talking about extreme speeds. Yes, sure, I remember that. Yes, but when you drive on normal speed or even high speeds in the city, this car will never do that. Why is that? It did happen twice to me at 175. That's too fast for the city, man. And you drive wrong. If you learn how to drive on track, you will drive same right in the city and it will be safe even if you drive really fast. The main thing I learned today is, please correct me if I'm wrong, so when this car finds some roughness on the road driving on high speed, and you felt it today, when its ass wants to go before its face, I understand that every car will do that. For example, when you run on a curb, any car would bounce, but the cars with longer travel suspension, when it's not that stiff, they will not lose control that much. Eric, there are no miracles. I know that. All sport cars have short travel suspensions. And there are some cars that... So I want the impossible thing. From a sport car, yes. If you want to drive at 185 miles per hour and feel relaxed, there are other cars that can let you do that. And they are more comfortable. They will let you check your messages. Surf my iPhone. Yes, so I'm sorry you can't surf your iPhone in this car. Driving over 150 miles per hour, I confirmed that. If that is what you wanted to hear from me, yes, I confirmed that. You have to steer this car and be concentrated. In the 70s, one of the famous racers once said, I don't remember his name, but he said that talking about Lamborghini Countach. But you can attach it to any sport car, so driving a race car, you should never fully release the gas pedal. If your rear axle loses the grip, the center of gravity in this car is placed right over here. This place is unique. This spot is too close to the content patch, and this car reacts very quickly when you hit or release the gas pedal, much faster than your beautiful car painted that cool colors. The main feature of this car is that if you release the gas fast in some long high-speed turn, it will same quickly redeploy all the way to the front axle you wanted or not. And the thing you're not satisfied with it means that Porsche engineers will still have at least some job to do. Wonderful. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to meet you. You're welcome anytime. So he has the quality, he has the speed, and it also has the acceleration. Nice interior, check. The elegant exterior, check. Even the price is quite suitable for these characteristics. But despite all that, there are still things you have to tolerate. For example, the engine is placed in the back of the car. It's too unusual for me and it may be uncomfortable for other people. But that is a different philosophy and different emotions from steering. On track, this car behaves completely different from other cars, and different from itself, it behaves on a straight, and that's completely another car in the city. I really like to drive it in the city, but when you are on a racetrack, you have to use and steer it the right way and on perfectly smooth asphalt, and when you get used to it, you're definitely gonna enjoy this car madly. If you have enough money to buy this car exclusively for track racing, buy it without any doubts. If you want to drive it in the city and never break the rules and the speed limit, or maybe just a little bit, buy it. I may recommend this car to you, it's amazing. But if you need a universal automobile, if you need a car for some long distance travel, and you don't want to break your spine, if you need some easy steering car that you don't have to get used to, I'm gonna say BMW M5, and you're gonna hate me more and more for my love to this brand, but the thing is that I simply used to have the engine on the front of the car. But that is my own problem. I didn't like it. It's too easy to get killed. It is a good, Yes, but it's not for me. I'm gonna wait for Taycan. As always, we try to do our best to tell you about this car and all the details. So thank you, my friends, for watching this test drive. So please leave your likes, leave your comments and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it yet. That will make us happy. It was D3, I'm Davidich, goodbye.